Here's two reasons why your characters look boring, and they kind of go hand in hand. Now, number one is because you put way too much emphasis on designing the costume. I talk about this a lot, and when I go to events, I talk about this to students as well, is do you want to be a costume designer or do you want to be a character designer? Because I see so many of you put so much emphasis and effort into designing the costume of a character. You learned about concept art and shape language, and now you're designing costumes, and suddenly you think, oh, I got it down, I'm a concept artist. Well, you might be a concept artist, but you're not a character concept artist. Character concept artist means you emphasize the character, and you should treat the character as an actor. You shouldn't treat it as a costume. If you want to do costume design, that's fine, but then don't call yourself a character concept artist. A lot of the times I see too much effort put into the costume at the expense of the character, okay? A character can have ridiculously cool costumes, don't get me wrong. But if it goes at the expense of the character, you're not doing your character justice. So you have to put time and effort into how to bring your character to life. And that brings me to reason number two, which is you don't put enough emphasis on making your character come to life. And what I mean by that is that when you portray a character, you usually do it in the same boring pose. And you're telling nothing about what the character is. Now, this doesn't matter if you're a hobbyist or a professional or an aspiring professional. If you don't put emphasis on making your character come to life, it will look boring out of the bat because you'll just have a mannequin standing there. And here's the cool part. You can draw a mannequin with just simple blocks. If you animate it well, it becomes a character. That's the power of animation. So learning how to create different poses for your character that illustrate their personality, their typical action, right? Like the guy I have here, you would see him being a very dynamic sort of like roguelike cop. Right? That's essentially what we're doing here. So we want to try and portray the personality of the character through animation, through the action of the body, and then also, if we can, in the expression of the face. So they go hand in hand, right? Our faces are animated and then our bodies are animated. And if we can animate the two really well, we can elevate the level of the character so much that we don't even need a costume. If we didn't put a cool costume on top, that's just a bonus. So keep those two in mind if you want to make your characters less boring.